Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. Today I would like to present our second assessment which entitled Comparative Literature, National Borders and Poverty. So this is my statement of intent. As you can see, this presentation attempts to conduct comparative literature between texts Carlos Fuentes' The Cost of Living and Mahasweta Devi's Dowry. As a part of this analysis, the issues that are going to be focused on are notions of ideology, significance of social status, and agency. At the end of this study, I will investigate on how these elements contribute to the notion of poverty. So for my statement of intent, I have prepared a very simple diagram for you guys, make it easier to understand, hopefully, which are the three elements, which is first ideology, significance of social status, and agency. And I will apply it and on the two texts, which are the cost of living and dowry. And as a part of my analysis, I will um I will study the notion of poverty. Moving on. This is my hypothesis. The writer's main message in writing this text is poverty. This is because, why I'm saying that, because I found a few scholars that have made a research on these two scholars or these two writers, which is first referring to the first text, Dowdy. Mahasuta's concerns in writing are exploitation, fight against oppression, and to root for justice, deprivation and degradation, and carrying subaltern voices. And for the second text, as you can see, which is the cost of living, this is actually a quote being said by the writer itself, which is Fantas. The rate of illiteracy, poverty, joblessness in Latin America has been so great throughout the history that if the writers didn't speak for the people, nobody would. So it is evident that poverty is always being the concern in their writing. So moving on, this is analysis of text. This is my first point, my first issue, which is the point of divergence, mediums of ideology. Even though these issues exist in the two texts, I mean, as in the ideology, but the mediums that are used to convey the ideology are different. As you can see in Dowdy, is the issue of social, which is referring to the caste, is being highlighted, while for the cost of living, it is the issue of the medium that is being used is political, and the issue is that is being highlighted is positionality. Both mediums are used to control people so that they submit to the fixed traditions and rules. As you can see from the first text, the two excerpts, why you were born a dusat. From this quote, you can see that it is the issue of the caste that is being highlighted. So it doesn't matter if she, who is Dowly, is being abused, hurt, but she will always be the one to be blamed. And you can see that there's no sense of escape or option. So it is you can see from this excerpt as well. What choices do you think she has now? And then moving on is the second excerpt from the same text. No, Diota, don't mistake it for love. You are a young Brahman man. You will marry a bride proper for you. Please stop this. Again, it is the issue of caste that is being portrayed. And you can see the difference of Brahmin and Dusat. Okay, and then moving on, you can see that the issue of marriage in with the lower class is being considered as improper, while for the cost of living, you can see it is not the issue of caste, but the issue of positionality that is being the concern. As you can see, the director sat on the lecture platform chair, and the rest of them sat at the desk, and the director looked at them with his black eyes, and they all look at him. So from these positions, you can see that who is superior and who is inferior. And the manager shows more significant position. It shows power over the teachers. And eventually, this excerpt shows that the employer being indifferent about the future of the employee. So from these three excerpts, you can see that these events will lead to oppression in so many sense. Society are restricted to continue life without any options before them because they are from the bottom part of the hierarchy in society, so they have left no choice but to accept And I think what is the most significant message that is trying to be conveyed is money really matters, and mediums of ideology, as in social, caste, and political positionality, are effective in these two texts. Hence, it proves that poverty exists and so significance in these two texts. Moving on is the next point, which is the point of convergence, which is this same or the mutual trait that has been shared in these two texts. For this point, which is the significance of social class, I will focus on the difference in social class plays a very important role in determining the life of the characters. Okay, as you can see in the first text, Dowdy, I'm a poor Dusat widow and you are the landlord. Please don't make fun of me. And for the second excerpt, I know that there can be bastards between the landlord and the ganju and dusat girl. That happens all the time, but not love. As you can see from the two excerpts, it shows that Dowley is seen as someone who is helpless or without dignity. She is seen rather more of sex objects rather than a human being or a woman. So actually the notion of Dusat itself, it tells that she is not at a par with Brahman men. Moving on for the second text, which is the cost of living, you can see for the first excerpt that Anna was very sick and wasn't going to be able to work all month and they all needed money. The second excerpt, what I thought was that you might be able to talk to your boss, he might have something for me, some kind of work. And while the third excerpt, the man slowly withdrew the knife and snapped his fingers, and Salvador fell with his mouth open. You can see that from these three excerpts, it actually shows that the protagonist, which is Salvador, his journey on how he survived and eventually he died in process to gain more money. He has to do two works, which is being the teacher as well as the taxi driver. It shows that Salvador is desperate to look for another job, and due to his financial crisis that he has, it ends up that costing his own life. As the conclusion, you can see that being left in poverty, which is staying at the bottom of social class, it actually makes both of the characters have no options in their life. So you can see Dowdy does not care if she bears child of wedlock, while Salvador has to find another job to sustain his life. This is the third point, the third issue, which is the issue of agency, the convergence issue as well. But for this issue, I'll be focusing on the notions of agency that are found in the text, but they end up in a very poor way. For the first text, which is Dowley, Dowley reads his face, the power her presence still has on his mind. It makes her happy in a way that also makes her suddenly bold enough to speak up. As you can see, the two words speak up. And the second excerpt, she feels hurt, wounded by nature's indifference to her plight. Tears finally run from her eyes with the pain of this new injury. For these two excerpts, you can see that actually Dowley shows a sense of agency by voicing out her disappointment and anger towards the Brahman man, but due to her disability, which is poor, then there's no solution found. While for the cost of living, the director said no one was dying of hunger and that everyone was having a hard time, and the teachers became angry. And one said that he punched tickets on a bus after teaching 2 sessions, another said that he worked every night in the sandwich shop on Santa Maria La Redonda. You can see from this excerpt the teachers actually express their anger, but it doesn't affect anything in their life. At the end, Salvador still has to find another job. In conclusion, it shows that both situation it shows overt agency, but due to the reason of poverty, the notion of agency is not significant at all. So we can see that poverty is significant and covers the act of agency until it becomes insignificant. So as a part of the conclusion, conducting comparative literature actually with national border crossing as the parameter allows me to see variety of issues being highlighted like notions of ideology, significance of social status and agency. These differences and similarities encourage to appreciate and embrace more of people traditions and cultures. And the writer's main message in writing these two texts is certainly the issue of poverty. And as a whole, or like when it comes to daily life, I realized that by conducting this analysis, it makes me feel more grateful with the life that I own now. At least I don't experience such level of financial difficulty or poverty, and I'm still being able to enjoy my life moderately as what it is now. So thank you for listening. I end up my presentation today with a quote by Baldwin. Anyone who has ever struggled with poverty knows how extremely expensive it is to be poor. Thank you.